Friends, welcome back. In today's discussion, we are going to study the most important of the poetical types, that is, the lyric. Friends, as we know, the lyric is Greek in origin. It has the two important characteristics. The first important characteristic of an lyric is that it is an expression of a single emotion or thought, and the second thing is that lyric is a musical composition. Friends, let us try to know about the music in the lyric, which is a very important thing as far as lyric is concerned. In ancient times, the music to the lyric was provided by the minstrel's harp or lyre. Actually, friends, minstrel means a medieval traveling entertainer who would sing and recite poetry, often with his own musical accompaniment or lyre, which formed an external accompaniment to a lyric. It was a kind of musical instrument, my friends, lyre or harp. Okay, so lyric was made musical by the voice of the singer keeping tune with the sound of the instrument. That is a very important thing. The next thing is that the subject matter of the lyric also was of little importance as long as the singer's voice could give it the right emotional effect. The Elizabethans, as we know, in particular, were past masters of the art of investing words with the highest musical quality. For them, words were very important. The lyrics of the Elizabethans are, as we know, unrivaled for their word music of verbal melody. The vowels and consonants in the Elizabethan lyrics are so artistically arranged as to compose a music of their own, which was independent of the aid of a musical instrument. Such was the powerful quality of Elizabethan lyric. Lyric was closely studied and developed in later times by most prominent poets like Keats, Shelley, Tennyson, and Swinburne. Here is a stanza from Tennyson which has been universally praised for its own music. Note the alliteration and the artistic arrangement of the consonants like R, N, S, F, I, and L. Here we are just going to cite an example before you. Oh, hark, oh, hear, how thin and clear, and thinner, clearer, farther going. Oh, sweet and far from cliff and scar, the horns of Elfland faintly blowing. My friends, in this stanza, there is sufficient music in the words themselves. The words do not need any kind of music. They do produce music in themselves only. The lyric has become independent of the lyre here. My friends, as far as the subject matter of the lyric is concerned, the lyric gives expression to a single emotion or feeling or thought, my friends. It appeals more to the heart than to the intellect. Its appeal to the intellect is through the heart. Just as the songs we sing are usually not very lengthy, in the same way, my friends, a lyrical poem is quite but brief. Through the lyric form, the poet wishes to convey his impression swiftly, memorably, and musically to the audience. The term lyric is usually understood to cover the song, the ode, the sonnet, and such poems as in the definition given by Palgrave in the preface to his Golden Treasury. In Golden Treasury, he says that lyrics turn on some single thought, feeling, or situation. This was the definition by Palgrave about lyric. There is no doubt that lyric is a subjective poem since it expresses poet's emotions. It cannot help being intensely personal. It is very personal. It is very subjective because it conveys the feelings of the poet. Friends, now let's know the structure of the lyric. The lyric can be divided into three distinct parts corresponding to the three modes through which the poet passes when he gets inspired by some emotion, by some thought, or by some feeling. The first part of the lyric consists generally of the first few lines or at the most of the first stanza. It states the emotion or the subject which has set the poet's imagination working. My friends, now let's move towards the second part of the lyric. The second part of the lyric, which forms the bulk of the poem, consists of the thoughts suggested by the emotion. By this time, the lyric is well advanced in intensity and therefore, my friends, the expression reaches its highest pitch of eloquence or passion, we can say. Then, my friends, the third and final part is almost as short as the first, and this final part usually comprises the last stanza, which marks the poet's return to his initial mood, the mood which is of reason, for by this time the emotion which had stirred the mind and the heart has found release in fitting words and images. Friends, unlike the first two parts of the lyric, the closing part of the lyric tends to be intellectual in character. The closing part often contains a judgment, a pointed summary, and it ends with a parting smile or sigh, which is dependent upon a particular kind of emotion. All these three parts, my friends, may be distinctly noted in Herrick's lyric is Two Blossoms. Its first two lines state the theme, that is sadness at the brief life of the flowers on a fruit tree. Its next four lines and the stanza that follows the thoughts arising from this particular kind of emotion. The flowers are falling, though they still look fresh and might have stayed to delight us a little longer. This is all in the first part of the lyric. Secondly, its words their whole destiny to live for only a few hours and then to get vanished. Third, it seems sad that nature should produce them to show how lovely they could be and then take them away forever. So the poet concludes here in these two blossoms that all earthly beauty is evanescent or temporary like the blossoms. It only shines for a moment and then it is heard or seen no more. Friends, we can sum up the lyric in the following way. The first thing is that the lyric is a short poem dealing with a single emotion or thought or feeling. The lyric is a musical poem. The lyric is a subjective poem expressing the varying moods of the author. And, friends, the lyric is a well-knit poem possessing a definite structure. The division into three parts, however, my friends, should not be pressed too far. Some lyrics may not reach an intellectual conclusion at all. A poet's emotion is a law unto itself and pursues a course no critic can prescribe. So, my dear friends, this was all about the most important of the poetical types, that is the lyric.